Ibr92.5FM. Impact Business Radio. We mean business.
This is Impact Business Radio, IBR. We mean business.
You're listening to Impact Business Radio, 92.5 FM.
Radio. Hello there.
News,
analysis,
reports,
and commentaries on the hour.
In your business interest on IBR 92.5 FM.
you're right to know.
Good morning. Here is the news update at 10 on Impact Business Radio, Ibr92.5 FM. I am Anu Akomalafi. The Debt Management Office says the domestic debt owed by state governments and the Federal Capital Territory Administration rose to 6.43 trillion naira at the end of 2021, while subnational domestic debt stock also rose to 4.46 trillion naira, and the subnational external debt stock amounts to 1.97 trillion naira in 2021. According to the latest data from the Debt Management Office, Lagos, Ogun, and Rivers are the three most indebted states. The 4.46 trillion naira domestic debt represents 11.27% of the country's domestic debt stock of 23.7 trillion naira as of December 2021, up from 20.21 trillion naira in the previous year. Talking Health, the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency says over 70% of medical drugs being dispensed in Nigeria are substandard. In a statement, the agency decried that a majority of Nigerians do not have access to health services. It also revealed that the country is faced with a number of healthcare challenges as a result of the weaknesses and the underutilization of the primary healthcare system. The agency maintained that 20% of all maternal deaths globally occur in Nigeria, while infant mortality occurs at a rate of 19 deaths per 1,000 births as children under 5 are dying at a rate of 128 per 1,000. It therefore called on the federal government to do everything possible to reject the nation's healthcare system. Now to the education sector, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, has again reaffirmed its commitment to close its 2022 registration exercise on the 26th of this month. This is coming as the board disclosed that it has registered 1.5 million candidates across the country. In a statement today, the registrar of the board, Ishak Oloyede, noted that the sale of electronic personal identification number for its unified tertiary matriculation and direct entry examinations will not be extended. Oloyede decried the persistent drop in the number of e-pins being vended, as well as the low turnout of candidates at the various centers across the nation. He maintained that registration dates are not fixed arbitrarily, but through a consensus of the Federal Ministry of Education and examination agencies before the commencement of the exercise. Oloyede therefore called on all candidates who desired to register for this year's examination to do so immediately. It will be recalled that the board introduced this cashless policy to curb the activities of fraudulent computer-based test centers. Not leaving education as the incessant strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities become a threat to the country's university system. Stakeholders have called on the federal government to save the education sector from total collapse. This is as they decry the nation's education sector, which they said is nothing compared with global standard. The made is known today in a chat with IBR's Taiwo Olanrewaju.
Strikes by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, have become a big threat to the country's university system. This is as students have been deprived of their right to adequate education, coupled with their exposure to criminal activities. Speaking on the implications of incessant strike on the education sector, the stakeholder, Comrade Ibr92.5FM, said the nation's education sector is nothing compared with global standards. He, however, faulted the insensitivity of the federal government to the plight of university lecturers, adding that strike has always been the last resort.
An insistent strike can never be of any good to our educational sector. be it at any level of our education, be it primary, secondary or tertiary level. It can never be of any benefit. And that is why it always been the last option. If you are listening to ASU very well, strike has always been the last option. They always embark on so many measures. Some of it are even ridiculous, just to ensure that the strike is averted. It was when all of this failed that ASU have to embark on a warning strike of 1 month.
Bamigui urged the federal government to fulfill its part of the bargain, even as he advised students and parents to support the union.
But the way things are now, there's no guarantee that the federal government is going to do anything. So there's even every likelihood that at the expiration of the 8 weeks, that the strike may still be extended again. What ASU is asking for, especially the one that borders on the revitalization of our university system, it is something that ordinarily Nigerian government shouldn't have expected ASU to go on strike before such is done, because it is the responsibility of the government to ensure that the public university is adequately funded.
More Hands News updates at 10 on Impact Business Radio, Ibr92.5 FM. Many thanks for listening. Do join us at noon for the world news. I am Anu Akomolafe. Good morning.